Hey everyone, I'm your host Peter Zablocki, and you're listening to History Shorts. I hope everyone is having a great day so far, and thank you for making this show a small part of that. If you'd like to help me out with a small gesture, please leave History Shorts a rating or a review, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. For sources and books used as the basis for these episodes, how to advertise on a show, and other information such as a list of our upcoming guests on the conversation series, or a link to our Patreon account where you can find exclusive episodes not heard here, please visit www.historyshortspodcast.com. Today's episode is brought to you by the Podcast Republic, your ultimate podcast listening app. Discover and subscribe to thousands of podcasts from around the globe, all in one place. Download Podcast Republic now and take your podcast experience to the next level. Having said all of that, the United States Postal Service, or the USPS, an institution as old as the nation itself, has a history riddled with eccentricity, absurdity, and sheer ingenuity that transforms what could be a mundane tale of letters and packages into a carnival of quirky anecdotes and outlandish exploits. Here is the rest of that story.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Established on July 26, 1775, by the Second Continental Congress with Benjamin Franklin as its first Postmaster General, the USPS was born out of revolutionary necessity to ensure secure communication amid the fight for independence, evolving from colonial riders on horseback to a sprawling network that once experimented with missiles, mules, and even mailing humans. For that story, you could check back one of our earlier episodes. Franklin, ever the polymath, set the tone for innovation by streamlining routes and introducing milestones to track distances. But little did he know that his creation would one day encompass floating post offices, taxidermied mascots, and deliveries that defied logic. In its early days, the postal system relied on stagecoaches and horseback riders, with the legendary Pony Express capturing the Wild West imagination. Launched in 1860 by entrepreneur William H. Russell to slash delivery times from Missouri to California from 24 days to just 10, employing young riders who galloped 70 to 100 miles daily, swearing oaths against cursing or animal cruelty, and carrying mail at a premium of $5 per half ounce, all of it to fold after only 18 months with the advent of the transcontinental telegraph. This short-lived venture epitomized the Postal Service's relentless pursuit of speed, a theme that would resurface in bizarre forms, like the 1859 attempt at airmail when balloonist John Wise loaded 123 letters into his hot air balloon named Jupiter from Lafayette, Indiana, bound for New York, only for winds to veer him south after 5 hours and 30 miles, forcing him to abandon the flight and send the mail by train instead. As the nation expanded westward, the USPS adopted with unconventional methods that highlighted the rugged, often comical challenges of frontier life. In Alaska, where harsh winters rendered roads impassable, dog sleds became the lifeline for mail delivery, with dogs braving blizzards until the last route that switched to airplanes in 1963, leaving behind a legacy now celebrated in a yearly race. Even more enduring is the mule train to Supai, Arizona, home to the Havasupai tribe at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, where since 1930s, mules have trudged 8 miles down steep trails 5 days a week, each carrying up to 200 pounds of mail, food, and supplies, complete with a unique mule-themed postmark and a local cafe sign proclaiming "No fries till mail." only showing the community's dependence on these four-legged couriers, a route overseen by the same handler for over 2 decades, making it the last of its kind in America. These animal-assisted deliveries weren't limited to the wilds. In urban centers, innovation took a subterranean turn with New York City's pneumatic tube system, operational from the late 19th century, where rocketeers propelled mail capsules at 100 miles an hour through underground tunnels, handling up to 55% of the city's mail by the 1950s. Though each container's 5-pound limit and the need for double sorting led to its eventual discontinuation in 1953. Meanwhile, in the early 20th century, in Greenville, South Carolina, post offices experimented with Harley-Davidson motorcycles for delivery, starting around 1906, zipping through streets until 1915, when regulations restricted them to rural routes. No chapter in USPS lore is more outlandish, however, than the era of bizarre mailings, where regulations, or lack thereof, invented creative and sometimes perilous exploits. Before 1863, postage only covered delivery from post office to post office, forcing citizens to retrieve their mail in person. But the introduction of parcel post in 1913 opened a Pandora's box of peculiarities. With no initial prohibitions on shipping live animals or even people as long as they weighed under 50 pounds. This loophole led to the now infamous practice of mailing children, exemplified by the 1914 case of 4-year-old May Pierstroff, whose parents in Grangeville, Idaho, affixed 53 cents in stamps to her coat, equivalent to the chicken rate, and entrusted her to a postal clerk on a train to her grandmother in Lewiston, a cheaper alternative to a full ticket. She arrived safely, but the stunt prompted outrage and an eventual ban by 1920 after similar incidents. Anyway, humans weren't the only unconventional cargo. In 1849, escaped slave Henry Box Brown mailed himself to freedom, cramming into a wooden crate with biscuits and water for a 27-hour journey from Virginia to Philadelphia, via wagons, railroads, and steamboats, and then emerging unscathed and free upon arrival. Pets joined the fray too, like the 1954 incident where a boy from Ohio mailed his pet chameleon to Orlando, Florida, for warmer climates, with the postmaster kindly releasing it on the grounds and sending back a Christmas note. Even diseases made the cut in 1895, when New York postal clerk Miss Daisy James handled shipments of smallpox and scarlet fever strains from physicians to the National Health Board, alongside dead birds and animals bound for taxidermists, a grim reminder of the era's lax biohazard rules. The absurdity escalated with colossal shipments, none more audacious than mailing entire buildings. In 1916, entrepreneur William H. Coulthard, building a bank in Utah, shipped 80,000 bricks from Salt Lake City via parcel post, packaging them in 50-pound crates and sending about 40 at a time, totaling 40 tons, for the lowest rate, overwhelming the system until the USPS imposed a 200-pound day limit, declaring it wasn't meant for construction deliveries. Valuables weren't spared the whimsy. Jeweler Harry Winston mailed the priceless Hope Diamond, worth over $1 million in value, to the Smithsonian in 1958 for $145.29, which mostly was insurance, via first-class registered mail, delivered by a nervous carrier who felt a little shaky under the spotlight, proving the Postal Service reliability for gems, but also showing the absurdity of it all. Modern experiments pushed boundaries further, though. In 2000, improbable research tested the limits by mailing skis, delivered after 11 days, a deer tibia, a rancid cheese, dead fish, all arriving within 9 days despite the clerk's suspicions, a molar tooth, sentimental, 14 days with a note, fresh coconut, 10 days, and street sign, suspicious, 9 days, highlighting the U.S. Postal Service tolerance for the eccentric. Even live scorpions remain malleable today, albeit strictly for medical research, while spiders are outright banned, a quirky remnant of hazardous shipping rules. Mascots also brought whimsy. Oni, a stray border terrier adapted by Albany postal workers in 1888, became the official mascot of the rail mail service, napping in mailbags, traveling rails as a good luck charm, and then dying in 1895. His taxidermied body is now displayed at the Smithsonian. Rail mail itself was a spectacle, with clerks from 1870s to 1950s exchanging pouches on moving trains without ever stopping, hurling outgoing mail and snagging incoming ones in a daring ballet of precision between two trains traveling in opposing directions. The USPS flirtation with futurism yielded its own follies, like missile mail. In 1936, rockets ferried letters across a frozen lake but then crashed. In 1959, Postmaster General Arthur Summerfield launched 3,000 letters via a submarine-fired cruise missile from Norfolk to Mayport, Florida, in 22 minutes at 600 miles per hour, hailing it as the dawn of space-age mail delivery, though costs grounded the idea permanently. Stamps themselves evolved quirkily. Before 1845, envelopes doubled postage as an extra sheet, leading to the rarity. In 1993, the Elvis stamp became a bestseller, followed by a triangular, round, and holographic varieties. Belgium's 2013 chocolate-scented stamps, and then the 1973 phonograph playable ones, inspired, while Victorian England's stamp licker devices avoided the caloric toll of glue licking, 1/10 calorie per stamp, I should say. And then there's the floating post offices, like Michigan's J.W. Westcott since 1948, hoisting mail via buckets along the Detroit River. Even carriers' roles extend to heroism through the 1982 Carrier Alert Program, where they check on elderly or disabled patrons, alerting emergencies if mail piles up. There's also the USPS Postal Inspection Service, one of the oldest federal law agencies, which tallies thousands of arrests yearly for scams and fraud, all while handling massive email volumes digitally. So, USPS sure does have its quirks, and you thought they just delivered letters. Thanks for listening.